Route 66, the Mother Road, a highway paved with dreams and memories. But what happens when those dreams fade and the travelers move on? Join me, Big Mike, as we explore the forgotten corners of Arizona's Route 66.
It's road trip time!
Our first stop is Meteor City. It was established in 1938 as a Texaco station. It's been abandoned for a while, but there's new owners, so hopefully it's going to come back soon. So this little town on Route 66, right? And unlike a lot of the other towns along that road, it never got really big. It was just kind of a small place with a trading post, a gas station, and a little grocery store. That's what it was. The main place they used to call White Mound Trading Post. It even had a town's post office inside from 1924 to about 1946. But then in 1958, they built Interstate 40, and that kind of killed the old U.S. Highway 66 or Route 66. And you know how everybody wanted to drive faster on the new highway, and 2 years later, the White Mound Trading Post shut down. Now this is the Amoco gas station. Just kind of walking around. I mean, it's just I don't know. Seeing a past of Route 66. It's kind of intriguing. I mean, there's so much on Route 66 that's active and everything, but some of the abandoned stuff is pretty unique too. You'll see a little later on, they actually have a whole fort here that was actually built up. This is just kind of the remains of the gas station. A lot of graffiti, which I'm not big on, but unfortunately it kind of is what it is. Now, this is the pancake house that they had here. And so basically this was all rebuilt. The interesting part's in 1960, someone built a brand new trading post on the same spot. And this is where they called it Fort Courage, just like the old TV show F Troop. It's pretty much kind of a knockoff, but hey, it works. And it was designed to look like the fort on the show, which is kind of cool. The new place had everything from a coffee shop to a restaurant, gas station, grocery store, and a gift shop. And of course the trading post. They sold all kinds of things, Native American stuff like jewelry, rugs, souvenirs. They even had motel rooms, a place for trailers, and a campground. And you can see a lot of the remains here of a lot of the stuff. But like a lot of things, it didn't last. Unfortunately, by 2010, the motel rooms had been turned into apartments, and there were old cars parked everywhere. And then by 2014, the whole place was just closed down for good. So now it's just kind of just an abandoned traction on Route 66. Kind of sad, but it's also a piece of history. Kind of just faded away, but it's still here for us to look at. I mean, here you can kind of, through the broken glass, see a little bit of, I don't know, I figure this had to be part of the trading post or something in there. Not quite sure what, but I don't know, just kind of exploring on the outside. I never go into buildings or anything like that, but just looking around, and it's really unique in what you find out here. I mean, that, Route 66, part of the abandoned and forgotten places on Route 66 are some of the beauty of it too. I mean, where else are you going to find a life-size fort? It might be bigger than life-size. I mean, we're going to walk over here and I want to show you the fort part, which is, I think, the coolest part. They did have a fire that burned down a fair amount of it, one of the other towers, but they were able to save one of them. And F Troop was actually what it was based off of. That was a show that was 1965 to 1967. This is the neatest part, I think. Now, there's one of the buildings that burned down during the fire they had. It had some arson a while back. But there is one tower remaining. Some of the fencing's fallen down. But there's a charm to it. And it's just kind of a feeling. You're walking around. It's kind of like you're walking into the past a little bit. This is some of the stuff, it's like Americana. I mean, where else are you going to be able to check out an abandoned fort? It just gets out front and take a look at it. I mean, that thing's huge. I don't know how tall it is, but that thing's at least 40 foot tall. And this is some of the stuff that's on Route 66. There were all these attractions, roadside attractions, the people. That's part of the charm of this whole place. And I just really enjoy going up and down. I own a store in Seligman, like I said, over there on Route 66. But I just love discovering all these other places to see. I mean, this thing is huge. Look at that tree. I mean, there's the doorway. Doorway's got to be 6.5 feet tall. And look how tall this building is when you compare it. It's huge. I mean, could you imagine yourself as a kid going to the top of that, looking out over everything? I mean, you'd feel like you're in a Wild West movie. And that's what I love about US Highway 66 or Route 66. There's beauty in what's available. There's tons of roadside attractions, a lot of stuff to see, but there's also some of the abandoned parts, and you need to get out there and see them. They may not be around forever. I mean, you can see this fence was up about a year ago or two. It was fine. Now it's down, unfortunately, but it's also America. It's really kind of what American travel is all about. This is looks like well, one more time we'll take a look at this cloud. So just beautiful, but I'm always just walking around trying to see what I could discover. This is, I think this would be like a Hogan, I think they would call it. And it's a shame that there's graffiti and different things, but I can still appreciate what's here and what this thing was like. They were probably they probably had selling blankets, trinkets, and all sorts of fun stuff out here. But that was the charm. You never knew the next stop when you were on Route 66. Well, now we're going down the road. Took my old blue, my Dodge truck with the 12-valve Cummins, and we're just outside of Oatman, about 300 miles away. This is Ed's camp. Now, this was one eccentric character. He was pretty cool. He was a geologist, gold miner, doctor. Supposedly he healed himself from cancer. And this was the place you could go ahead and buy a bag of water here from him, or you could spend the night. They had this outside of Oatman in the old days, and it was just kind of amazing. I mean, you can see some of the mountains here. Just the desert and a stop, but this is all that's left of Ed's camp. But it's kind of a cool reminder. I mean, he was actually known for having the only saguaro cactus on Route 66 right by the gas pumps. And they got to be somewhere up there. I'm not sure where the gas pumps would be, but they've been cool. Well, old Blue's taking me back east again. They're 200 miles down the road. This is Two Guns, Arizona. That's the abandoned gas station here. But the part I really love is Two Guns it's an abandoned town. It was built in the early 20s, right about the time that Route 66 came through. This was actually the Old Trails Highway. There's actually the Old Trails Bridge, which would be actually called Diablo Canyon Bridge, that I'll show you later. But I'm just cruising down here, and this is a zoo, trading post, gas station. I just want to show you around, so I really hope you enjoy this.
Hey, Big Mike here. Look where we're at. Mountain Lions, Two Guns, Arizona. Pretty cool. Gonna check it out. Look at that sky. There's an old zoo. See some of the cages there. Graffiti. I hate graffiti. Look at that sky over there. You can see these are the cages. There's the bridge. And you can see up here. Looking here. How cool is that? Nice. That's the back side. We're gonna go ahead and take a walk. Leave. And this When we get over there is Diablo Canyon. Pretty cool. I'm thinking the Apache Death Cave had to be somewhere over that vicinity. I don't know.
Okay, now we're heading back. This is like, I believe that's part of an old gas station. It's got stairs on the side. It's a double deck. You'll see it. Now, this is the old original part. This would be back in the 1920s. Now, the section that we were just at was actually built in the mid-30s, because what happened is they went ahead and rerouted Route 66 to the front where the mountain lion was. That became the main road instead of the road back here. They had changed it. And that's one thing that happened a whole lot with Route 66. It wasn't just I-40 bypassing stuff later years. A lot of times there'd be towns that just got bypassed because there's a better route. In fact, it happened to Oatman, Arizona in 1953. They got bypassed. And that pretty much turned them into a ghost town during the 60s. This is the ghost town of Two Guns. It's just, I don't know. I just really like looking around here. It's just a lot of fun. You can see I-40s over there. And you can go through, and some of these buildings even have roofs on them still. There's just a lot to see here. You can imagine the history. There'd be Native Americans outside with blankets selling jewelry at places like this. They had trading posts. There was also a zoo that had mountain lions, Gila monsters, all the stuff. A lot of these places, I don't know if this one did, but there's a lot of places along Route 66 that have like snake pits. I know there was one over by not too far out of Moriarty that had an old snake pit in it. And that's just some of the fun of what Route 66 is. Sorry, it's a little shaky here. My bad. New camera. Just trying to get it worked out. But I just wanted to kind of walk you through a little bit of this. And like I said, this is the old section. So this would be built in the 20s. It's actually really pretty. You'll see a little bit of the backside here of Diablo Canyon. This is actually, to get here, you actually have to, there's a little bit of dirt trail you can go drive over, and then you can drive over the bridge and go all the way to the back. Matter of fact, there's even a rumor that Billy the Kid hid out in a ranch house somewhere out here back in the day. Of course, you know, back then, Two Gun, this wouldn't have been here, but there was an old ranch house supposedly that he hid out into a long time ago. But it's just neat. I mean, where else can you find? You just feel like an explorer. Now, the next place that we're going to, this is Bellemont, Arizona. And if you ever watched the movie Easy Rider, this is where they got turned away at the motel that one time. It's a pretty cool little place. There's not a ton of stuff in Bellemont for Route 66, but this was in the movie, and it's pretty cool. There's a neat old car, gas pump. I believe, I didn't get a chance to look in the windows, but I think there's some pretty cool decorative stuff. And they also have a campground here. It's just, it shows you the history of 66. Let's just step back and see what America was really like back in the day. Check out that old car back there. Then look at all where you can just camp back there. They got the RV park going. Beautiful place to check out. Now here we're in Chambers, Arizona. This is actually an old gas station. It was also a gas station feed store at one time. And it's, I don't know, there's just something about it. But this is some of the stuff when Route 66 bypassed places. They were just left behind. But there's sometimes almost a beauty in some of the old abandoned stuff too. And then this is Twin Arrows, Arizona. They've unfortunately keep having issues with the graffiti and stuff in this area. I wish people would stop that. Paint on your own cars and your own houses if you want, but please leave the public properties alone. This is Twin Arrows. Now there's only one single arrow there, but pretty cool. Now this is over in Joseph City. You might remember Jackrabbit Trading Post. That's about a mile away. This is, I believe it's called Howdy Hanks. Had a teepee there. This is private property. You can't go on it, but you know, this is one of the old businesses, abandoned business that was there. for a long time. It was pretty cool. This is on the other side of the road from Jackrabbit Trading Post. The next exit up when you're going to Joseph City. Instead of turning to Joseph City, if you go to the left, you can see it. Like I said, this is actually on private property, so please respect people's rights. But I mean, look at that. There's a horse on top of the TV. It's got the Indian sign on it. This is basically a fun old tourist trap. Now this is another one that's really cool. It's the Red Arrow Camps. It's got the neat sign. You can go through and look back there. You'll see kind of picnic table. Let me just see if I can get a little better here. I think I'm gonna look around. Most of it's I think they even might have had cabins. It had all sorts of stuff here. But it was an old campground they had back in the day when Route 66 was really going strong. You can kind of see where there's little poles out there. And if you look closer, you can go ahead and actually see other parts of it. But it's just part of the history. I mean, this is what was along Route 66 or US Highway 66. You know, and just some of the remains are pretty cool. Some of the old abandoned sections, like so, there is a lot of other stuff in Joseph City, but these are a few of the abandoned parts. I just wanted to kind of show them to you. They're the intriguing parts that are often forgotten on Route 66. I believe that was also another business up there they used to have quite a bit. Oops. Let's see if we can get this focused a little bit. Just so you can kind of see what's out there.